Alrighty guys, so here's our core support we designed for the Mk1. Provisions for hood pins and a pattern, kind of lighten it up here. I'll show you how it looks from the top. You can see it's got a crown to it, kind of mimic the factory core support. That'll give you a little bit more realistic view with a perspective view. So what we had to do is this actually ended up measuring 52 inches, a little over, end to end. The plasma table I had was 48 inches max on the travel, so we split it right down the middle. So we're going to go over how we're going to put this thing together, clamp it up, weld it up, and how we're going to actually make this core support real. Alrighty guys, so you can see here's the top of our core support. Like I said, we had to split it into two pieces down the middle so it fit on our plasma table. So we just got it clamped flat to our welding table, nothing crazy. Recommendation guys, if you're going to do metal fabrication, you can never have enough clamps. So when you see them on sale or pick them up at a garage sale or an estate sale, sometimes you can find boxes of them. Always good to have a lot of clamps. So all we're going to do right now is just TIG weld the bead. We're not even going to metal finish it. We just want to stick it together so we can start doing the mock-up for our core support. Alright guys, so you can kind of see we're starting to get stuff mocked up, right? For the core support, what we did, we just got a 1/2 inch piece of square stock underneath, supporting the radiator intercooler combo. The reason for that is we're going to get factory replacements for these, but these are the isolators for the radiator mount. If you look right down here on the side of the S&P mounts, if I just hit the camera, my bad, right down in there you guys can see. So we'll be welding in a threaded bung into the subframe so these mounts go right back in. So we're going to have those on insulators. That's going to help us get our radiator mounted. We're going to run a clean mount, just one on each side, rubber insulated as well. Just to keep it nice and clean looking, really race car-ish, really purpose built. So once we get this all mocked up, get our core support complete, and get the intercooler and radiator combo truly mounted, we can start plumbing for our turbocharger, pressure side, our exhaust, and our coolant lines. So we're going to be making those all out of stainless and aluminum U-bends where appropriate. And for the rest of this, we're just going to work on the core support, start giving it some strength and a little bit better shape. Alrighty guys, so you can see we got beginning of our core support mocked up here. Because we didn't 3D scan this car before we drew it in SolidWorks, we didn't have every detail planned out. Case in point, I'm going to add a filler piece here. We're going to make this look real clean, but we're going to cut a relief here in the core support, and we'll make the pattern flow correctly, but we're going to cut a relief because I want to tilt this intercooler back another 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch towards the front of the car. It's going to help us out. It's going to give us some much needed clearance between a shroud for the electric fan and what is this, the oil pump? The oil pump. Anyways, it's going to give us clearance that we need on the front of this TDI motor between the intercooler. And once this thing's all mounted up, it's going to help us better plan all of our plumbing for our turbocharger and also our exhaust. Because we're getting rid of the EGR, there's a lot of unused space right here. I've looked up some other builds, and it looks like some guys will pull the intake out over to here. So we're going to try to utilize some of this void space. It's pretty busy on this side of the engine, but the EGR delete is going to help us with the issue of it pointing right at the strut tower. It's going to help us make a little bit tighter turn. So now that we got this core support mocked up, besides the issue with the radiator cap, also going to relieve it back here at the edge of our fabricated core support so it can slide underneath just a little bit more. You can see right here, this is a pretty good area where you can see it. We just need to relieve a little bit of the core support on the backside so it slides in. But overall, I'm happy with the look when it's body color. Should look pretty great. Another thing too, here and here, these are our provisions for our, they're not going to be hood pins, they're going to be the flush latches, the push button ones. So those are our mounts for our hood latches, and that's going to give us something really strong tied into the body, because the last thing you guys want is the hood coming off at speed. Alrighty guys, so we got our core support. It's welded up, we filed the edge and everything. I'll come back, it needs, you know, a little bit of more metal work. There's some highs and lows in it. We'll get it out. But for now, this is gonna be our core support. So you can see our provisions for our hood pins. We might be basically angling the ends of this core support a little bit or making it drop down just to level it out, to make it line up with our hood pins. But this gives us an idea of where our rough core support is going to land and how we're going to mount for our intercoolant radiator.